Good Monday, makers. Hope everyone's doing great. Welcome back to another episode of Maker Pipe Monday. We're excited to be here. Hope everyone had a fantastic holiday weekend. I'm joined here by Jake. He is on the mic, but not the cam. Say hi, Jake.
Hello, everybody. Good morning.
And we've got a bunch of fantastic builds. I'm so excited about the group of builds we've got going on. Everything from a chainsaw, sawmill to plant and gardening sort of things. And then this huge shed we got as well. But I just want to remind everybody we're in the midst of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and we still got some discounts left. We've been running sales for a while, but if you'd like to get 10% off on a Maker Pipe order, if you're thinking about doing a build, you want to try it for the first time, you can snag 10% off, which is this is like our only sale of the whole year. So take advantage. And the code there is what is it, Jake?
Black Friday 10.
Black Friday 10. So take advantage of that if you're looking to buy some connectors. And we've got some great projects to show off what you can do with the connectors for sure. The first one is check out this shed that somebody built with MakerPipe. This thing is enormous. Um, there's all the connectors and all the inner workings of the shed. But it is, Matt sent this in by email and Jake posted it to the community. It is 35 and a half feet long, 22 feet wide, and 16 feet tall, which might be in the run. It's definitely in the running for one of the biggest structures that we've seen. And it is an engineering feat for sure. I really love it. And some of the things that I think are super cool about it. I mean, the structure is awesome, but the outside is actually plastic from boat wrapping. So it's shrink wrap from a boat. Now, if you build a structure like this, one of the hard things is how am I going to cover it? Like, am I going to use tarps? Am I going to custom make something, custom sew something? But Matt actually, he's got some experience with shrink wrapping boats and decided to use that for the outside of the building. And
Does it actually work like shrink wrap where you just like put a bunch of it, there's a bunch of excess material, and then it just kind of literally shrinks around the frame?
literally just shrinks. And you have to do seams. I've never done it. So my understanding is not the best. I mean, Matt looks like a pro because you can see he actually like overlapped and joined two pieces of the shrink wrap right here. He made a seam
Wow.
that's probably heat welded, I guess, but I don't know for sure. So you can imagine where you've got flat panels are really good. So if you want to do the roof and the sides in one big flat panel and then the ends, and you can see that he's using a tarp that kind of goes on these furring strips as the doorway.
Wow.
But what a fantastic idea to couple the structure of conduit and connectors and then use a flexible material like heat shrink to cover the whole thing.
And surely that adds a little bit of rigidity, you'd think.
Oh yeah, it kind of compresses everything and
Hmm.
holds it tight. I see some wires coming down here on the sides, but check out the inside of this. And I want to make sure that the I get the dimensions right. So Matt told us that he's got an opening that's 10 and a half by 10 and a half. That's the door. And then he can get a vehicle in that goes in the first 20 feet. So he used a cube truss, excuse me. And then he's got a different truss, excuse me, for the last remaining little bit. And you can see that here. That's the side view. Got some equipment there. But you can see this open area and the high 20-foot truss here. So you can pull a vehicle in. And then there's these the lumber reinforcement, and then some space for some snowmobiles in the back, other tools. And you've got a lot of storage room around there.
Really awesome. I mean, I love too. I don't know if you've noticed the electrical boxes. He said before he found Maker Pipe, he actually used the electrical boxes to join and make like four and five ways and different joints, which is a really clever thing I've never really seen. Somebody out there was looking for Maker Pipe and couldn't find it. So they're like, I got to join these somehow. And they used the electrical boxes and then found Maker Pipe and finished the rest of the frame.
Yeah. Isn't that's an awesome story?
Yeah.
There's something better out there than electrical boxes for working with conduit. And that's what we try to bring to the table. Some cool overhead storage. as well. Some bends for the radius of the roof. All cool details that Matt did. And he was talking about he's in an area where he's got snow load, and as far as he configures, the snow load is about 6 inches. It can handle 6 inches of snow without the additional lumber supports, but then with the additional lumber supports right here, you can it that adds to the weight that it can hold in the snow load. And one of the big things that he was trying to accomplish was a temporary building structure instead of building something permanent and all the things that go along with that, taxes and whatnot.
Mhm.
He wanted a temporary building structure that he takes down and puts up. So really, just an amazing build. I can't thank Matt enough for sharing this. We were really excited to see this when any big build like this. I mean, we can't believe it, and we just love seeing it. So, Matt, so thankful. Appreciate that. Great job, and we're glad we could help with your project with our connectors. Very cool. We got another one from Jose. He's doing some gardening projects. We got a couple different builds. Now, this is a kind of a miniature hoop house that
Mhm.
was built to protect the plants from upcoming frost. And looks like Jose borrowed your technique, Jake.
He said in the email that he shared he used the calculator to figure out the bins.
Oh, no way.
Which is super awesome. I was super stoked to see that because, just putting that calculator out there in that video, it was a lot of work, but I was hoping it would be helpful, so to see somebody already share a build and shout it out was really cool.
Right. And if you haven't seen that video, Jake did a great job of teaching people how to bend conduit into circles and arches. And you can see that these verticals and the tops, they're one piece of conduit with some bends, and that create that structure, which is great. It saves a lot. I mean, you don't have to use connectors there. And then he was just using 8 connectors to hold everything together. But a really cool little garden on the patio, and hope it kept those plants safe with the frost. It's coming if it's not already here. We
And that
got another build that definitely is buried in snow. We'll see that in a second.
yeah.
Jose also built this trellis cover structure for a raised bed garden. Check this thing out. There's this metal raised bed with this corrugated metal in a pretty unique U shape. And then Jose went to town on the structure going above it and to really make it sturdy. So you can use this for shade, you can use it for cover, trellising the plants, whole lot of different uses. What did he say he used it for?
Um,
Grow vegetables,
yeah, I think just regular gardening of, like, vegetables and things, and he said that that
insect
garden.
protection.
Oh, right. And that garden bed, I think he said the company that makes it, they have versions of this for, like, the different models, but his specific model didn't have any kind, so he wanted to build his custom because there wasn't a solution.
Oh yeah, because I mean, the way these metal beds work is you can kind of they're modular, right? So you can use them in different ways to create whatever kind of configuration. You could do one big one, 20 by 20,
Mhm.
and because you got the end pieces that are corners and then straight, and you can kind of bolt them together with however you feel like. So it's a good, custom need, right, for
Mhm.
a trellis. And he said also, frost, insect protection, these kind of things. But looks like Northern California, he said, and it held up to some winds that they get occasionally, and that's smart. Like you got to think about snow load, you got to think about winds. Usually, it's the extreme weather that you really have to consider. On a sunny day without any wind, no problems. But as you're doing your build, I think that's a good tip for people is just think about that extreme weather in your area and what you get. So yeah, awesome builds by Jose. Thanks so much for sending those in. Love seeing them, definitely. And then this one is a YouTube video posted up by DIY Easy Crafts. And shout out to their YouTube channel. They got a great YouTube channel, a lot of craft maker kind of content, hacks and whatnot. And they've done some maker pipe content in the past, which we're really grateful for. And they've got some big videos too. I mean, there's some of their videos are really popular. But what they built with Maker Pipe was a rod and reel holder for the ceiling in their garage. I'll mute them just for a second, but basically overhead storage for rods and reels. What we're seeing is a center section with PVC that he's able to take there's the piece of PVC that kind of bridges the
Oh,
two
wow.
halves of conduit because that makes it easy to get the rods down, right? You don't have to pull it all the way out the whole length of the rod.
Okay.
But
That's
you
a
see it just attaches to the rafters there in the garage or basement, and then, you
Yeah,
can pull.
that's a good solution. I mean, we've talked about that, especially with like making a packing stations on how you can put things on a long piece of conduit without having to undo the connector or, have to have a just a loose joint there. But that seems like a good solution. Wow, it's a big fish.
Yeah. So we know he's for real.
Yeah.
Um,
It seems like a good solution though to be able to kind of bridge the gap. And I imagine you could do that like if you built with half-inch conduit and slid 3/4 inch over it, or built with 3/4 and put 1 inch over it
mhm.
to kind of bridge the gap.
Yep,
Um, and even if you used a coupling or something like that, if you really needed it to be secure, but it looks like that solution works great too.
yep. Looks like half inch, and then some 1 or 2 hole straps to attach it to the ceiling. But definitely check out DIY Easy Crafts video, DIYeasycrafts.com. You can see the pipe insulation to protect the reels, but he goes through and just shows you how to build everything step by step, explains the shims and all that sort of stuff. So really grateful that glad you found Maker Pipe is a good solution and shared it with your community. Really appreciate that. And go check that out if you need something like this. This next build is by Alan. I love these mini trucks.
I know. I
They, this
That's
is a
so cool.
Subaru mini truck. How awesome is this? And Alan posted this to the Maker Pipe community on Facebook. Thanks for doing that. Loved seeing your build. And like a lot of builds, he used Maker Pipe to kind of customize the bed and back of his vehicle. We've seen this with side by sides and ATVs, and here's a mini truck. Have we seen any other mini trucks, Jake?
There was the kayak rack for the mini truck.
Was there?
Hmm. It was very similar, except they basically made it where the rack would extend over the top of the cab, and
Mhm.
then so the long kayak could sit on top of the cab and then have a rack support in the back.
Okay. This is too cool though. Okay, so I mean this is definitely the hobby mobile, the fun
Hmm.
mobile, right? Because you've got Alan's into RC aircraft and these things get big. I mean, you've got smaller aircraft, but this one, I don't know what size classification is, but it's pretty big. I mean, if you have to move that around, it's going to take a lot of work. And what a better way to show it off and roll up to the field, the airstrip, than in your mini truck with your plane on the back. I mean, it's just too cool. But you can see you got a foam pool noodle for the back there, and then the wheels sit in this channel that he made right there.
Oh,
And I guess that could be adjustable for the different wheel sizes. I don't even know if that's necessary, but it kind of just builds upon the structure of the bed. What a great setup! That's
yeah.
pretty impressive. And I'm just noticing, Jake, that the connectors are actually clamping on to the existing rack on the back of the cab.
Oh, wow.
So you've got it here. You got this is a welded tube, and then the T connector clamps onto that, and then he's able to build off of that.
Wow, that's cool.
Pretty neat. So thanks, Alan. Appreciate you posting that. Love seeing that build. As if these things weren't cool enough, got some more. This is Billy's amazing homemade chainsaw sawmill. So I mean, this is really neat. If I've been exposed to this through my brother-in-law, John, he's milling all his wood for his house and everything around his property. So I've kind of got the ins and outs of the chainsaw. So or the mill, and he's got a Harbor Freight one. But this is really cool to see because what Billy made was a chainsaw. You just mount your chainsaw onto this mill, and then it moves in this direction, and then also the saw goes up and down, and he made it mostly out of maker pipe, which is really awesome to see. And he did a video as well. Check out his channel, Northwoods Engineered. Really smart guy, clever sort of build here. And you can see there's some other things like an awning, and he's got a lot of other neat videos. But let me play some stuff here. He goes through in the video and shows it off. You can see he just milled that piece of timber with the chainsaw. Which, if you got a chainsaw, it's like, and you have an interest in this. I can't imagine it'd be. I mean, it'd be really fun to do this.
For sure. And I think making it custom too based on the lumber that you're wanting to mill as
Hmm.
well.
Different requirements for based on what you want to make.
Hmm.
But some of the cool things that he did and explains in the video is explained how he made the movement. Right, the linear motion is important. How do you make this whole thing go back and forth? And then how do you make the saw up and down? Because you want to place the log there and move it as little as possible, right? So if you're cutting, whatever inch and a half, 2 inches, whatever it is, you want to be able to control the saw and go down. And then got really creative and came up with a way to hold down the log using maker pipe and conduit, which I thought was super creative. I think we got some more pictures of that in the post, and you can go ahead and check out Billy's post in the community. Here's some screen grabs, and he kind of hinges this pipe and locks it down with some other pieces of conduit.
And even the way the conduit's attached to that wood there is a good technique.
Hmm.
Because he's got those brackets. It's just a simple L bracket, and then he's just got a threaded pipe insert in the end of the conduit there, and then he's just got a bolt that goes through that L bracket into the conduit. Seems like a good solution for mounting.
Right, and kind of creates this swivel action, and then I guess it was, let me go back to the other photos, but the hold down, as you can see, the hold down the log, I think he's got a threaded kind of bolt
Oh, right.
that applies tension. And the way he did that was it took a stub piece of conduit, used two threaded inserts, I believe,
Hmm.
and then ran the bolt through with a thumb screw on the end. And you can kind of get it where it tensions. Think of it like, the Christmas tree bases, right? Where you
Right.
screw in the bolts and hold the base of the Christmas tree. Similar sort of concept. Way more creative than that, but awesome, awesome job, Billy. And I love seeing stuff like this because you've got a chainsaw, a few extra things that you buy on Amazon, and he links all that he talks about all that in the video. So go check out the video if you're interested in learning more about this. And you've got something that would cost, thousands of dollars and lets you experiment with the process because it's a whole thing to mill your all lumber whether you want like a tabletop and experiment with that or maybe some shelves. It's kind of cool to have some lumber from your property or the wood you have and use it in creative ways. And I think the linear motion part of this is an opportunity for people to think about their project and maybe how to accomplish similar sort of things. So the way Billy did it is you can see the rails here on the side. Those are unistrut, and then he used some unistrut trolleys bolted through the conduit, and they ride and they allow this whole carriage to move back and forth. And then to handle I guess it would be the Z axis, the up and down of the saw. You can see him here. He bought some linear rails that you can get on Amazon pretty cheap. That comes with the rail that he bolted to the conduit, and then these little slider blocks that the carriage links to as well.
Yeah, because he built like a little custom carriage, like wooden box that the chainsaw mounts to.
Yeah, there's the
There's that,
picture
yeah.
of that.
And then that mounts to the Z axis,
Right.
up and down.
So a lot of awesome details. Thanks, Billy. Really appreciate it. Great build, and it's awesome to see your video and all the things he engineered there. So check out his channel again, which is Northwoods Engineered on YouTube. Really cool. And then, as promised, we had. I guess they got some snow up in Buffalo. You hear that?
I guess so.
So,
They should send it this way. I like
ah,
snow.
I mean, probably I think it was something crazy like lots of feet up in Buffalo. They
Yeah, I
get
think
that lake effect snow, but this is this year.
yeah, I think like up to 6 feet. I saw like people posting pictures of like out the front door. I can imagine. I think the most snow I've ever seen is like, I don't know, 2 or 3
Oh
in
yeah,
Kentucky as a kid. But I guess you're from Connecticut, so you might have more of a tolerance, or you might have seen some more snowbanks.
I've seen some things, Jake. Let me tell you,
Back in my day,
I've seen some things. Back in my day, the snow drifts were 10 feet high,
you had to walk through to get to school.
uphill both ways. I think the most I've seen is going through Lake Tahoe in California. There was one storm; it was like 10 feet, like
Wow,
one storm, 10 feet. It was like tunnels where the road goes through.
that's
But
crazy.
but they're equipped to, I mean, they get that, right? They're up in the
Hmm.
mountains. It's a ski town. But yeah, so the whole point of this, John updated us. He built this ahead of time, and it's a Maker Pipe solar panel rack, and it survives New York lake effect storm. So that's the news.
Yeah, such a great build. I mean, it's simple, but it's holding up, which is always cool to see.
Yeah, and how else are you going to do it? I guess there's a lot of ways, but I think this seems like a pretty efficient one. But he's got the weather stations on there as well. Solar. Maybe it's actually powering the weather stations. That might make sense. I don't really see we
Oh,
see a
yeah.
little bit of electronics, but it's away from the building, so I haven't imagined it's probably picking up the weather or some sort of instrument there. Looks like a Wi-Fi antenna or
Hmm.
something. But anyway, survived the storm. That's awesome to hear. I love when it's working out with people's projects and using Maker Pipe. So great build. Thanks for sending it in. Thanks for updating us, and I'm glad you guys are finding useful and creative ways to use the parts we make and pair it with cheap building materials. So couldn't be happier. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Don't forget you got a 10% discount code if you want to use that. That's going to end today. So get on that. And yeah, we love doing this. So we'll see you next time. Thanks, Jake, for coming by.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm excited. I'll put a link to or I'll put the discount code in the description,
Okay.
just so you can reference it.
All right. Sounds good. Everybody have a great week. See you next week.